Welcome everyone to the LinkedIn Power Lab webinar. Today is Monday, the 16th of May, and I would like to welcome you particularly to this session with the topic Create Your LinkedIn Page. Page in the sense of not profile, not page. I will tell you everything what it means. So I prepared 27 slides for today for the next hour. If you can, please be so kind and mute yourself. If you would like to ask a question, please do so. Otherwise, let me go through, and I will have typically in these sessions 3 parts with a leading question to you to start a conversation, start a discussion, and we typically do this in the chat. So for those who are joining for the first time and who do not know me so far, my name is Gunnar. I'm a social media consultant. I'm blogging about social selling, created 2 online courses, I think even 3, and I wrote a couple of books. So that's about myself. You see the company logo at the bottom there. That is myself as a book author, Connect and Act Media. What I would like to cover today, create your LinkedIn page. And that comes in 3 areas, which are difference, how to combine page and profile. What's the difference between them? Second, the definition, how to create particular page when you already have a profile. And the third one, delivery, how to use it. So that's a typical Gunnar way of putting it into 3 areas. Always start with the same letter. So let's get into this one, while I already saw that more people joined. Welcome. Getting into the topic of the difference, as you can see here, this person has 2 shoes, one red and one yellow, a bit like the MasterCard logo. So question to you, and let's start it here in the chat. Do you already have a LinkedIn business page? Question. Yes. And most who are working as an employee in the company, typically larger companies have that, smaller not necessarily. So who else has a LinkedIn page already? Any one of you? All in no?
Sorry?
You don't have one, I know that. Ben, no. You write you don't have, but that's not true. You have one. You do have one, I know that. So I show you. Cinzia, you say yes, but we can do more action on that. So good, some of you. So Sebastian, Paul, keen to hear from yourself whenever you have time to chat on that. So let me show what actually is what. So Bell, what you write here, I could actually show yours or tell yours. So do you already have a LinkedIn business page? Let me show you examples. What means a page, what means a profile? I start with Facebook because the principles are the same. And somehow I hear noise around, maybe from Paul, from your side. If you could please be so kind and mute yourself, I would appreciate. Oh, I could do it myself. Got it. So let's take Facebook as an example. This is a Facebook profile from Jane Jackson. She's a career coach from Sydney, well known. A profile is a person, is a personal thing on social media. And a page is a business thing on social media. Both words, profile and page, look equivalent, but they are not. Technically not at all, and we should not use them that way. Because a page is for the company and the profile is for the person. That's what Facebook says. So let's look the same for LinkedIn. Again, Jane Jackson. You can see the difference of her on the left-hand side, showing more about her private stuff, where she's living, the environment and so on around that, her family. On the right-hand side is all about her as a career coach, about her academy, everything that she's doing, the value she's delivering for her clients. Similar thing on LinkedIn. Here we have her as her profile. And of course, yes, she does provide some services, as you can see there. She has 21,000 followers. By the way, a profile allows you to have 30,000 connections. but unlimited followers. The profile never shows how many connections someone has, but it shows the number of followers. So her connections are 500 plus. I do not know how many, only she knows. But 21,000 followers, that's a lot. That is her profile as person, as a professional. The right-hand side is her business. And her business page is the Careers Academy. As you can see on the profile beforehand, there's a logo called the Careers Academy. And that means there you can see basically on the right-hand side how the page for that works. There's only one employee, which is herself, and she has 992 followers, which I think is quite good. The topics that you can see here on the page is a blue button, which by default for her is following. There's another button with blue text. For her, it's called visit website, and that is the call to action button on it. And there is more depending whatever's coming. But below there's even a line of other things what can be done. And that is about post, jobs, people inside, events, and videos. So you can do a lot on a page. Similar as in Facebook, you can also do a lot on a page, different to a profile, different thing. If someone is following a page, there's a high likelihood that the content of that page you will get in your feed. That's not always given with people. But by the way, if you really wanted to follow her content, for example, on the left-hand side, you see the golden LinkedIn logo above the word the Careers Academy, and right from that is a little bell. And that bell is not marked blue or anything like this. But if I would click on it, then I get notified. That's something which is rather new. So left-hand side, profile, which is personal. Right-hand side, page, that's the business. And bell, you also have one, which is called Bell's Treatment Corner. So these are the differences. Profile and page. Many people, normal people, often mix the two terms because it looks like it's the same, like the personal page, but that doesn't exist. It's called profile. The reason why people exchange that is because both words start with a P. That's my observation. So what's the difference? In black and white picture, on my view, your LinkedIn profile has a rounded picture like a head. And the head is typically rounded, yes. Your LinkedIn page has a rectangular picture like a building. Going back, around Jane is a round circle, and her head is also round. On the right-hand side, Careers Academy is a logo actually in a square, not just rectangular, because a building is rarely built in circles. That's how I make clear what actually is what. Profile is a head, page is a building. They do different things. You need both. So worth considering. Particularly, I take this now in the view of smaller businesses, entrepreneurs, one-lady shows, two-man bands, and not large conglomerates. So the profile, meaning the personal, that's the digital representation of your personal brand, while the page is more the organization's hub on LinkedIn. There might be people who follow an organization, but do not necessarily know who works there. Maybe it doesn't even matter, but maybe it does. So therefore I need to solve both. The profile is not only your online CV like maybe 10, 15 years ago. The times are over. It's real personal branding. And the page is also not just a copy of your website. That makes no sense. As I mentioned, profile can have 30,000 connections plus unlimited followers. And of course, the page also has unlimited followers. The left-hand side introduces you as a human, and the right-hand side introduces the company. Slightly different in the way how it's written and the action that can be done. While the person is all about your experience, your activities, your skills and interests, and right-hand side is more who's working there, Do they offer jobs? What's the insights into the company? Which events are going on? So it's a little bit different. Typically, only you have access to your profile because it's a person, that's only you. But for the page, more people can manage the page. There's one person called a super admin. And if you are a one-man show and only one person has the page, then of course it's the same one. But it can also be managed by someone else. And I'll show you one example. You can always feel free to start with LinkedIn for free, but more services in the premium version, while the page is free to use. There's nothing like a premium. That's what that looks like. And to see the difference, what is actually what, if you look the URL, the profile starts with linkedin.com/in, and then hopefully a nice name that you have. Like for mine would be Gunnar Habitz, my name. And then for the page, it is linkedin.com/company/ and then whatever you wish, as long as it's available. So that makes it technically different. So difference between a profile and a page is not the same thing. It doesn't serve the same need. So, but what's the advantage of having one? And therefore, that would be good to look in this one. Further advantages by using a LinkedIn page. You can leverage the company branding, referencing back to your profile. So if your company has certain colors and so on, you can have that as well on the page. What else can you do with it? Next one. You can connect your employees to the page if you have more than one. That's a good one. You can build a following with clients, partners, suppliers. Because followers should not be just customers, but everyone around you somehow. You can add them, you can ask them, not a big thing. You can also gain traffic from your website to your LinkedIn page and from the page to your website. Some people search for services on Google to look up the website, which comes maybe first. But some people see first a LinkedIn page, which is not a big wonder because LinkedIn is very good in SEO, stands for search engine optimization. Let's look further. You can even create further pages like a showcase page for dedicated products that should be product or producers or services. So for example, Jitsia, if you would want to have your generic business on your LinkedIn page, but as you have certain products that you're selling with your mobile beauty service, you can even create a showcase page only for that one and run a campaign on that. All possible on LinkedIn. By statistics, companies with completed and active LinkedIn pages get 11 times more clicks per follower compared to those who only started the page. That's where the algorithm makes wonder. And then also, nearly 80% of LinkedIn members want to connect with companies in their lives, not only with people. Many customers want to find out what's coming up from a company, who are following the company, might not even know who is the actual person behind, or don't know how to spell it, but they might remember that. Take the example of Jane Jackson, for example. Maybe some people do not know how to spell her, but they know that there was something like an academy for career. They type it in, and it comes the page first before her as a person. So that's always good to have that. So a range of advantages for that. And then you could even add LinkedIn ads, meaning advertising, to gain traffic to your page. And you can tailor that. Nobody of your connections will see this if they do not fit into your choice for the ads. So that was very good when I actually was about 4 years ago. I found an advertising on LinkedIn from Apple. I wanted to search for a very particular role where I well suited into. And that was sitting on their page, not in a profile of a person. And it hit me, not my colleague, because I fit exactly into what they needed. And I would not have maybe searched for a job at that moment. And it got me up to into the last round of the last 4. It was very good, only starting from a LinkedIn advertising on a page from Apple. And of course, for those who are in an employment, like myself, and you have a side business, you can even add a LinkedIn page to showcase your side business, where it's not necessarily a conflict. So there's a couple of reasons, as you can see, by having a LinkedIn page for your business, in addition to your LinkedIn profile. If you have any question, please ask. There was one from Bell. Are we able to provide more tools and tips about how to have a showcase page? Showcase is an advanced type of thinking compared to a regular page. We don't cover that today. But I give you an example. When I joined Hootsuite 2 years ago, it was at the beginning of the pandemic, and Hootsuite had a dedicated showcase page into COVID-19. What does it mean for social media? For all people who then have been searching social media and so on, that they found that with dedicated services only for that. So something like that. That would be a showcase page. So concrete, well, if you wanted to do something on that one, you would, beyond your regular page that you have, you would create one only talking about your services at those that you deliver on Nature's Energy, for example. But of course, you need to have enough traffic and followers that it makes sense. But that's how that would work. So you need to have first enough people on it before it makes sense overall. So definition, how to actually create a page. And now question to all of you. It's a funny one. Who can create a LinkedIn page for your business? My answer, I can do that. Who would you ask to do that? If you want to have a LinkedIn page, in addition to your profile. Any idea? Yeah, Cynthia, you have a very lovely answer. So it's basically is 2 answers. You can do it yourself, or you ask someone who knows it. And I'm happy to volunteer for that. So who can create a LinkedIn page? So it's actually not that difficult. Let me show you. Imagine you want to have one. When I didn't know, I simply Googled it, because I didn't find inside of my own LinkedIn how to get started. And I found that link. Easy. LinkedIn.com/company/setup/new. Very easy. I selected company. So basically there, it asks you at the beginning, do you would like to have a company page, a showcase page, or an educational institution page? No, I'm not that. So I selected company. And then I got a form. The name of my company, the public visible URL I would like to have, the website, my own, everything to put in. The industry, which normally is a list of about 100, need to choose which suits best. The industry is critical because if you pick a wrong industry, then the wrong people can be your followers, or the other way around. In terms of company size, for sole trader, you can choose 0 to 1. And then comes, I think, 2 to 10, 11 to 50, 51 to 100, 101 to 500, 501 to 1000, and so on. Simply select what makes more sense. I selected 0 to 1 for my own page, which I created a couple of years ago. Next one, company type. Self-employed, privately held, public company, whatever you want. For smaller business, typically those 2. And then you need to have a company logo. And as I mentioned before, it's square, it's not rounded. So it will be shown as square, typically a real nice logo in 300 by 300 pixels. That's the best, so that it looks good. And then below that, you can see a tagline. Example here, a family-run accounting firm that promises you won't lose sleep over filing your taxes. Sounds good because it shows what they do, for whom, to achieve what. So let's go and check it out. Let's check what actually Jane Jackson wrote. So her logo, the company logo square, shows the Careers Academy, this black with white letters and an orange arrow on it. The name Careers Academy, and then her tagline, these 120 characters, your career accelerator, make your dream job and get ahead in your career, VIP membership for professionals. Exactly that. Good one. You can see also other things like an about section. I do not talk about this today, but at least that obviously is what's coming there as well. So this tagline is important because this tagline also sits under each post you do, under each comment when you comment as your page. If you don't know how to create the logo, go to canva.com for image creation, one of the 2 most exciting Australian tech companies ever. So let's look at an example. Here we have Simon Bowden from Victoria, and I picked him because we need to have a cover image example. And the cover image of the profile, as you see here, his own profile, his personal, that has been created in a 4:1 ratio, meaning it's 4 times wide by 1 time high. You can measure this somehow by yourself, quite easy. And he has chosen this funny smiley picture from him on the right-hand side, some text on it, a cup of coffee with a lovely large flat white or whatever that is, and his logo on the top left. Looks good. That's the cover image for his profile, 4:1 ratio. That's standard on LinkedIn. If you wanted to do the same for the page, that's tricky because the page has about a 6:1 ratio. So you can see it's much wider. If you would choose the same picture, it would cut his head. No neck visible and no statement of him as a marketing business course. So he has chosen a completely different one. Another cup of coffee, completely different picture overall, but then he even picked a different smiling face from him. And he wanted to have a smiling face because the company logo SPC is square in image without a person. So I can see the difference. You can also see he even took the tagline a bit more personal than it should be, in my view, but it comes from his company name being Simon Bowden Coaching instead of, like in Jane's example, the Career Academy. So then he carries his name there. But he has some keywords in it, like transform or business or profit and passion. So that's an entrepreneur. So not too bad. The page cover image, here are the, here's a pixel size, 1128 by 191. And in that example, Belle, if you remember, we have done that for your profile, different to your page, where you have some kind of hand and the writing on it so that it makes sense. So it's what Simon has done well, it looks different, but it speaks the same language. Hope that makes sense. So when we have done the basic stuff, and then we went and put out the images, then we can basically complete the other parts. And when you look at the image on the right-hand side, you have the about. Of course, there need to be some lines about the company, the business, not just the person, but more from a company point of view. It will summarize all posts that have been posted as the business, jobs, if there are some, the people working there, in this example, just Simon, If you click on it, it will be just him. Insights is only when you have more than 10 people employed. And then videos are extra as well. So this page is typically into businesses from 10 and above that you show also the people. But otherwise, you can use it very well as a sole trader. So then let's complete that. Final steps. And actually, when you create your page, there is a guide sitting there, and I'll show this to you. This guide, that's when I've been doing this, it gets you from 0 to complete of all of these 10 steps that need to be done. This screenshot is when I have not completed mine because I've been missing 2 things. I didn't invite my connections yet because my page was a bit more only technical to have done it, not that I needed. And I didn't add a custom button, meaning this call to action button that I shared before, which could have just my website, or even a scheduling software link like Calendly can be on there as well. So that these are the things. And this guide, you can see I've done 8 of these 10. That's good. And if this is completed, then the content written by the page gets more traffic compared to an incomplete one. You can also see at this image next to my name, Connect and Act Media, you see that's the super admin view. I'm the one running that. So we looked into differences, then we looked into the definition how to create this, and now let's look what we can do with it. Any question? Bell asked, will you please tell us more about adding a calendar? Ciao, Sebastian. You only need to take your Calendly link or Acuity or whatever other software. It doesn't matter what you take in that sense. The LinkedIn page has one button where here is written learn more. You can decide whatever should be written on that. And you define which link you give there. It's one link. Can be your website, can be your calendly.com/Gunnar Habitz in my case that exists. I can put that there. It's my definition. It's a bit like Instagram. You can only have one website link, not plenty. Good input here for picture presentation, size of lettering plus background color, where the lettering color is important. That you mean the images at the background. And the tricky thing always is that this also fits in the contrast.
Yes, the contrast, yes.
Yes, and that often is quite difficult. So when you see on the left-hand side where it's written let's chat against dark and against this yellow, the let's chat has a shadow with a bit of black behind. Without that, we would not be able to see the chat on the yellow. And it also helps on the right-hand side against the red. But contrast is extremely critical, and some people are a little bit of colorblind, like myself. I have difficult to read, let's say, light yellow letters on blue. And Olin, as you mentioned that, if you remember back in Czechoslovakia, the signage on the motorway used to be light blue with light yellow. In the meantime, it's dark blue with white, so that the contrast for drivers is better. We can see it earlier, more safe. Contrast is critical. So final steps, we have done that. And I wanted to show you example of the delivery. But first, question to you, to all. Writing here, question. What would you post on the page and what on your profile? Question, let's see what you're writing. So what to post on the business and what on the profile? Keen to read anything? Answer. Profile is That means my page. See if someone writes something. So let's look into that one. And I give you an example first. Here is a company called Pro10. They're the largest chicken farm developer in Sydney. They have these massive chicken farms in Griffith, New South Wales. So if I would like to get and manage the page first, I need to click in LinkedIn on the Me button, which is somewhere towards the top right. I click on Me and then I get a menu. And this menu shows accessing my premium for those who have it, or setting some privacy, help, whatever. And then under Manage, there is Company. And I have my own Connect and Act, and I did manage for a while also the page of Pro10. I click on that, then I see the whole page. And that is the whole page in action. It's a super admin view, which I had back in the days. And what can we see over here? We can see on the left-hand side a bit of analytics, how many visitors at the time compared to last week, compared to beforehand, and so on, of the last 30 days overall, how many new followers, post impressions. The word impression means views. It's the same thing. That's on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, you can see followers. You can invite people, but you cannot invite thousands at once. You can only invite 100 at once. And then as soon as they accept it or not, you get more credits. So that's how that works. You see on the right-hand side, you can simply invite them. Ideally, you invite your connections, those that you're connected with as well, to bring them to your page. This company here has the page for a while, but they didn't do a lot, but still, they managed to get 2,658 followers, quite a bit. And I helped them to gain even more. They can start a post writing from here, not writing from their profile. So then it will be posted as the company Pro10. The tricky thing that they've had on the logo, you can see this feather. They had the Pro10 and the feather next to each other, so very wide. But it must be square, so nobody could read anything, it was too small. So I changed that with the approval from marketing. And then everything else sits in the middle, like some posts, hashtags, whatever is there. So then, yeah, just got this feedback from the question that I had, what goes where. Business page would be about services and the products, and personal page would be background, skills, experience, and knowledge. Exactly. Well done. So I will show this in the next slide or so. Let's compare them. What activities can we do on the profile versus on the page? So on the profile, we will write what supports our view in the sense of I. So I attended that event, and that's what I learned from it. Or whatever. I read that article, and that's what I would like to share from it. But on the page, you always write as we. We is our business. On the profile, we can share content that sits on the page, and we can add a personal twist on it, as if you would take this content from another external source. That's not so external because it's still in the platform. And on the page, we create content about the services. On the profile, we talk about the client story. It's like a dialogue, maybe, to say, I met that person, he became a customer, that's the learning from the whole thing, make it on that person. But on the page, you would then showcase the same thing, but written like a success story, more for the business view. So a different type of text. If you are active on LinkedIn, you would post maybe 3 to 5 times per week on the profile, but less on the page. 1 to 2 times per week is enough. I don't do too much because I do not use my page too much, but those who really do in a really active service want to twice per week, that's good. On the profile, you connect with people directly, while on the page, To invite the connection, you already have to follow the page. Typically, also one thing what I learned, if you take people who are engaging with your content, likes or views, doesn't matter, it's higher on the profile than on the page in percentage. On the profile, I attend events of other people, but the page, I can create events sitting there, and I can run a LinkedIn Live from that page, but not from the profile. And that's a nice one. Imagine you run an event like this one, not of Zoom, but out of a LinkedIn Live. So everyone who's just seeing this is sitting on there. That's possible. That's how you can get a lot of people, because LinkedIn would like to show LinkedIn Live and spreads it around to everyone. The profile is focusing on your expertise, your thought leadership. The page is more about lead generation, getting people into the numbers game. The profile helps to attract people to you, while the page attracts talents to your company. Particularly for businesses, take Pro10, that's what they wanted. Wanted to have people who see on LinkedIn that, apparently it's an attractive employer. So then there's content in that direction, more on the page than on the profile. So that's in terms of good practice. A couple of things that you can see. Another question here about the connection story. Yeah, connections, you can have 30,000 on a profile. Pages don't have connections, they only have followers, and it's unlimited. A profile also has followers, also unlimited. But connections on LinkedIn are just 30,000 as first rate. You cannot have more. Like Facebook friends, you can only have 5,000, not more. But you can have plenty of followers. That's it. What else we have? Some do's, some don'ts. Do this. Talk about your values, how you help clients. Establish connections and cultivate your network. Add a call to action button. You can do this very well instead of your website. Keep your page up to date. But that actually should really do this, like your website, should not be outdated. Right, as a company, add a second person to manage your page in case you can't do, but someone else on behalf of you could do it. It's possible. Doesn't need to be part of the same company. I could do. You can invite people to like your business page. There's a typo. And you should stay active with regular content, obviously. One more, get to know your audience and respond promptly. Do you see one thing? Does anyone see what I've done with these line items? What's so special to put them in this order? There's 10 pieces of them. Does anyone know? Olin, do you see that? Yes, the layout. What makes the layout so special? I could have filled the last lines with more, but I didn't want, because the last one is really to the point. Respond promptly. So it's getting more and more to the point. That's why I have it this way around. Yes, attention to the audience. Exactly. So what will we not do? Next part. Don't do that. Post exactly the same as in your profile. No, different thing. Create a basic version and forget about it. Not good. Because people will see that. Particularly when the LinkedIn page has been created before the pandemic. And the data on it is not accurate anymore. Something like, before the pandemic, someone would be able to deliver a service on a market, like in Manly. But these markets didn't work for 2 years. So it obviously has not been updated then. Makes no sense. Also, you would not pitch without clients in mind. You would not want to overshare content. And you would also not ignore the analytics, because you have seen how many followers are there, how many people engage. So go on that. And there's no need to have a premium version of it. So you get everything. That's a good thing about it. So last slide to this topic, typical scenarios suggested for the boring reality. Let's imagine we're a sole trader. Many of them have just an old profile, or mostly no page, no LinkedIn page, or just a basic one. My recommendation, change your profile towards a personal brand and use a page for your own business. That's what I can help with. Second one, small company. Very often they have a profile for the personal brand, maybe not that optimized, and a passive page. Keep or improve the personal brand and create a page for your company. A really good one. Third one, an employee, and I do not mean just someone working there, but someone who is visible on LinkedIn as a creator, like myself, but many still have just a CV style of a profile. But the company, because the employee of something larger, often have a very polished page. That's nice. But what does it lead to? The same thing. You can improve your personal brand and you can engage with the company page, because so many people following the page of your employer, if you engage with that, with the people who follow that, with the content from there, then you get more by yourself. That's a good thing. So for all areas, sole trader, small company, and employee as a creator, you get something out of it if you improve your personal brand and the page for your company. Any further question from anyone? Doesn't look like. So then let's forward. Next steps. And only a couple of slides to go, and well in time. So what we have to do, how can I help? So the typical challenge that we see in small businesses are there. 3 times O. Many people are overcautious. They're overwhelmed because there's so much, and often overthinking. Oh yeah, pardon, there was one question coming. How this example of the chicken page helps us? Very easy, to see a page in action. Because when you have never really done and have seen a page, then the slide helps. How you find it? Go to the Me button, then comes this menu, and then there would be your company. And I manage Pro10, therefore this was visible for me. And that's how a full page in action looks like, which has plenty of followers on that, where to edit it, how to share it further. That's the layout, how it will look like. And when you create and view your own, then that's where you know how to find it, and you get the slides for this, so therefore you will know it back then. That's why I put that one in. Hope that is clear. So for those who are overcautious and are overwhelmed and are overthinking, so what can we do? We can help with a discovery call, 30-minute free discussion that I've done from the meeting, from the webinar from April. I had actually 3 of them. And I realized I could help 2 of them with a LinkedIn profile, refresh them a bit. And one of them also bought the online course, second one will, next week as well, to enhance the knowledge and transform to the next level. So these are the 3 things where I can help. You will receive the slides where also the links for that, how you can book it, how you can join the course, and how to further first schedule a discovery call with my Calendly software. So the course that I mentioned is an online course which has 4 areas. We look into completing your online presence, how to connect with people, how to work with content, like commenting, creating content, and how to convert further. It's 4 times C. So that's all part of that online course, which covers about 90 minutes of recorded videos and some worksheets and so on. Some prices are up there. You can see that. But that's just to gain the knowledge. But many people don't have necessarily the profile in order. So therefore, the typical thing that can go hand in hand is to learn how to use LinkedIn well, and at the same time also get the LinkedIn profile reviewed by myself. I will suggest what to change where, and that adds another 45-minute call typically, which is very detailed. And for those who get both, they also can get the setup of the LinkedIn page included there. So no need to take an extra on that. So that makes it actually price-wise quite attractive. So for those who would like to have a LinkedIn page, or maybe have one already, but it's not really helping, then I'm happy to look into this one for those people who buy actually both areas. That's how that would work. I have a LinkedIn community on Facebook with 600 members, but I'm also sharing a lot about the topic of LinkedIn and social selling as well. So that was everything I wanted to share about LinkedIn pages. Hope I didn't speak too fast, and we covered it in about 52 minutes so far. So any further questions from anyone on the line? I know that Sebastian had to leave. Maybe Paul, anything from you? Pauline, Cinzia, Belle, Carl, anyone there?
Gunnar, thank you very much for the fantastic presentation. I really have enjoyed it, and very helpful. I think Cynthia would find it helpful too. In fact, I would love like a part B of something like this, because there's so much in this, particularly with when you talked about the page, and if we've already got a page like I have, I realize I could do more with it. So some more details about that, and whether it's in your discovery call or those services that you had one slide back from the one you're showing at the moment. Remember, you went, if you go back a slide, if you're allowed, yes, and you were talking about the different options there, whether any of those options would cover that sort of thing. Like, well, for example, with me, I'd like to be more active with using my page now that I'm at Nature's at Newtown, for example. I don't know about other people, but that's the sort of thing that I think would be helpful to extend the knowledge and use the page to its full potential.
Yeah, indeed.
So
that's correct. Good one. Good feedback. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks, Gunnar. That was really good. Yeah, very straightforward and easy to follow. Thank you.
Grazie mille.
Grazie mille.
Good one. Good one.
Did you not have two courses that you had there, or am I missing something here with your options of your services? Did you not? Yeah, you had something. Yes, that's it. Could you just go over that? Oh, one's the LinkedIn page and the other's online course. Do you think that online course would help people, like small people, like, for example, like Cynthia and I, for example? Would that help or not?
You are not small people. You mean small business people?
Business people. We're not small people. We're small in business, but we're big in heart in the services. That's for sure. I
know the business is classified as small business compared to medium and large size. Yeah, sure, of course. That's actually what helped. Therefore, I created that to get into this one. That would actually work quite well on the course.
Okay. And is that ready to go right now? Is it, you've got that up and running?
Click on the button, get started. It's already available. And one of the participants from last week, I think he booked it on the same day.
Wow.
Afterwards. Yeah. After receiving the material, which was the day afterwards, I shared the slides which get out at tomorrow morning 7 a.m. Sydney time, typically 12 hours afterwards. That's the beauty of marketing automation.
Oh, okay. And that the discovery call might be something where you'll help us to get ideas with that, with where we're going. Is that what you do?
Correct.
Okay.
The outcome of a discovery call can be nothing, all is good. Or could be a suggestion what to do, maybe as phase 1 and something else in phase 2.
Okay.
As people say, Rome was not built in a day. And the typical question then would be, was it built at night? But what I want to say is maybe people need to first improve their profile and then learn better how to use LinkedIn. So therefore, this both pieces together of the course and the profile refresh. And maybe then at the third step, look into the page. And at the fourth step, maybe do anything else what's needed. So not everything at once. Good.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you also, Sebastian. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Olin. Thank you, Carl. And everyone else out there who today couldn't make it but wanted to, like Alan and many of others, Leo, and so on. Good. All good.
It was very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you, Gunnar. It was really fantastic. You did a great job, and very interesting topic, this one. More like this, these relevant ones. This was a really perfect topic for us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I loved
Next
it.
meeting would be next webinar on the third Monday, sorry, in June. Let's see what we cover then.
Oh,
Prima.
okay. We'll come up with ideas and we'll tell you what we like, okay?
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Ahoy.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.